Hello there. Hello from software. This is a message directed solely at you from your most dedicated player base that helped build you. And I sincerely hope that you take what I have to say here, and I hope that someone there sees this video and actually listens to what I have to say. I know that that's not going to happen. And I know that people are probably going to ridicule me. The 2 or 3 people who actually do watch this video and comment are probably going to rip me apart. But I don't care. From software. What you have done with Armored Core 6 is not okay. Armored Core 6 should not be what it is. It is not okay for you to have done what you did with it. Most of us older players are not okay with how the game turned out. And a huge thing that's become a massive problem is that a lot of us older players are now alienated by the very community that we've tried so desperately to keep relevant and alive this whole entire time. Something that From has completely neglected and failed to do. So much so that it's kind of ridiculous. A lot of us older players, and a lot of them, and I've talked to them, feel that there's no reason to speak out because they will get completely overshadowed and eclipsed by everyone else, by their new fan base or the other fan base, their other fans. And a lot of people just won't say anything. They won't make posts, they won't make videos, they won't reach out or talk about it. Most of the time, you have to go to them and actually try to converse with them in order to get them to actually try and talk about what they don't like. There's another guy who made an entire, hour-plus long video just interviewing other AC players. And a lot of the veteran players have the same exact thing that they've been saying. From, you were way too conservative with Armored Core 6. You have changed it and have gone a completely different direction than what we deserve and what we waited for so long. People will say that we aren't owed anything and that we should just be happy that we got a game. And while I am very happy that Armored Core 6 released, that it exists, that it's a thing, I'm not happy with how they went about and did it. The only good redeeming qualities of that game is that it got a lot of people to go back and look at the old games and look about what they were about. For a small period of time, those games finally got the spotlight that they had deserved for so long, only to get reburied again as soon as 6 came out. The fact that we, have remained so patient and loyal this whole entire time, this whole entire fan base has, we've come back after so long, and we were expecting something completely different. This was a wet slap in the face for a lot of us. And we're not okay with it. A lot of people are upset. But they don't think that if they word anything or if they say anything that they'll be heard. And so the general consensus is that they're afraid of even speaking up because they'll just be ignored. And I'm making this video because I keep seeing that with all the people I keep talking to. All of us older veteran players. Well, not all, but like a huge majority amount. FromSoft, we, the people, the players, the Ravens that grew up playing this game, helped build your fucking company to what it is today. Before there was Dark Souls, there was Armored Core. The player base of Armored Core deserves actual Armored Core games, actual Armored Core experience. We did not come here to get cucked out of our game by y'all trying to make it into a Dark Souls similar Sekiro-esque, like Souls-like-esque experience. We don't want the stagger system. We don't want simplified auto-playing controls, where the controls can basically play the game with hard lock by them fucking selves, and with the animations and animation canceling, the lack of turning speed, the lack of, actual detailed explanations behind all these different hidden stats in the game. The fact that your power regenerates slower in air for some reason. It's never explained anywhere, but it does. That's just an example. That's not okay. The lacking in range of parts and weapons is worse than Armored Core 2. There's no weapon arms. Why is there no weapon arms? Weapon arms have been a staple in the Armored Core game since the first one. It took an update for you guys to add back-mounted chain guns. Admittedly, there were none in AC2, but there was a whole entire host of other options. Armored Core is not about bosses and was never just about bosses in that whole entire gameplay loop of that. You guys made those bosses ridiculous, and Dark Soulsified it by having one show up on the very first fucking mission. The only time a boss like that ever even showed up on the very first mission, I'm going to use the parallel, AC2, where not even just a pseudo high-end MT, not battle MT, but high-end MT showed up, and they were slightly tankier than a normal little reverse walker MT, and that was basically it. But you made Armored Core 6 play, and you modeled it after Dark Souls and Sekiro and those kind of games. That's how you guys modeled the game. That's not what we're here for. That's not what we wanted. You guys have gone so far down that whole entire Gundam anime-esque kind of storyline as well. And I'm uncomfortable with it. It's a great story, but it's not Armored Core story, in my opinion. It's very different. Very Gundamized. And I'm not really for that. It's cool. It's undoubtedly one of the best, if not the best, Armored Core story there is. And it has the best graphics out of all the games, being the newer ones. But I didn't come to Armored Core for those. I came to Armored Core and stayed and became a devoted fan of Armored Core because of the gameplay. I am here because of the gameplay. And that is what you have fundamentally changed and screwed up to the point where a lot of us just put the game down. I uninstalled it. I tried desperately to like Armored Core 6. I beat it, I 100%ed it, I got everything. I did constantly PvP, and after I finished the story, I tried to go back and revisit my favorite missions with different builds and stuff. But the problem is, the game is designed around y'all's fucking stagger and weapon animation system so much to the point where I can't express myself and play how I wanted to play. I can't control my machine how I want to control it and express myself through my builds. And that's what Armored Core is all about. You completely change it to the fact to where now there's this meta of stagger, times X stability, times DPS, system in place there. And the way that the animations and animation canceling is really like Gundam Breaker-esque. And that's what I come to Armored Core to get away from that. That's the exact opposite experience that I want out of my mech games. I want a mech game that plays like Ace Combat. I know for a fact that Ace Combat, the people who make Ace Combat and Armored Core, used to know each other. You guys at From Software need to look at Ace Combat 7 and reflect on that. They've gone back to their roots over there more than ever. And just look at how successful they are. Their developers had the balls to stick up for themselves and what they wanted to see the game be. You guys folded. And that's sad. And it angers me. Because Ace Combat 7 almost didn't happen, but the developers made it happen. They stuck to their guns. They stuck to what the vision of Ace Combat should be is, and they made it happen. I don't know what happened over there at FromSoft. I don't know if Bandai had a major influence over there, or if it's just Miyazaki, or both. I don't know what's up with that. But you guys need to do some serious self-reflection on the games that made you what you are today. Because if you can't do that, then you have lost the player base, the mass majority of us. You've lost us, the people who've waited so patiently and devotedly tried to keep this series alive and relevant, and people interested in it. It's unfair. It's unfair. It's unjust. And the fact that my fellow players who they feel like, my fellow veteran players who felt so strongly about this, but feel like they won't be heard, is sad. That is sad to me. That these people, that have devoted a lot of their free time and energies, to this game series, because they felt like it deserved that, have been treated like this, have been alienated like this. They feel like their voices won't be heard. And I'm starting to feel like my voice will never be heard. That we're just going to get swept under the fucking rug in the name of profits. Your game would have succeeded regardless. You did not have to go down this route. Armored Core 6 would have sold just as many copies regardless. You guys were so carefully conservative with how you guys went about it because you guys had no faith in us. You had no faith in the franchise, no faith in your own player base that made you. And that's sad. The saddest thing of all is that people would have still bought it. It wouldn't have mattered. You guys didn't have to lie saying that this was definitely an Armored Core game. Because the moment I saw interviews with you devs saying that was a immediate red flag. Immediate red flag that you're reassuring that it's an Armored Core game. Okay? All right, and that's and you know, like it's immediately a red flag. That's the moment I became suspicious about it. And the more I saw of it, the more I realized what you guys had done. I cannot sit here and justify this and say that this is okay. A lot of us are upset with the game's outcome, with its final development. This is not Armored Core. You guys have essentially sold its soul. And has you guys have misconstrued and ruined it to the point where it's not Armored Core anymore. This game does not play like an Armored Core game should play. It doesn't act like an Armored Core game should. Yes, there's references to the old games here and there, but hardly so. Armored Core 5 and Armored Core Verdict Day were the most different out of all the games in the series, and still those games had more references and more going for them than AC6 has ever had. 5 and the 5th generation in general was a mistake. It was. The fact that your ace units could not freaking fly, that was a mistake. Alright? The wrong path was chosen there. But you guys stuck to your guns, and with Armored Core Verdict Day, you guys understood your audience and turned 5th generation around with Armored Core Verdict Day. Armored Core, the difference between Armored Core 6 and Armored Core 5 Verdict Day is that back then, you guys understood your audience. That game, the people who were making it, understood their audience. They understood what they liked. You guys sold and had so much in there. For instance, there was these emblem packs that you could buy for the game that gave you all these extra emblems from the previous games. There was a whole entire expansion soundtrack from freaking Frequency, you guys' own in-house game sound development people. Where the hell is Frequency? Where the hell is the awesome banging guitar techno music in Armored Core 6? There's like maybe 4 or 5 tracks maximum in the entirety of Armored Core 6, which are considered under my book as actual music. The rest of it's freaking background ambience. And that's totally fucking against it. Yes, in Armored Core 5, there were some missions where there was just background ambience. But they changed that quickly in Armored Core fucking Verdict Day. the devs of Armored Core 5 and Verdict Day realized, yeah, that was not a good call. You guys have an entire fucking in-house band. Use them. Why did you guys make all these extra bonus tracks on a fucking separate disc and not put them into the game? Why not have those tracks show up in the game, have it toggleable in a settings menu under music, just like Armored Core Verdict Day? I don't think it would have been that hard, seeing as you guys already did that. And another thing, I like the CPU and system voices of the old games. Where the fuck are they? Now, don't get me wrong, 5th generation's switching between combat mode and scan mode got so annoying sometimes. Hell, someone even modded in where it was quiet because it got so repetitively annoying. However, I still liked that you guys sold entire little expansion packs for the CPU voices of different famous in-game characters to play your computer. That was cool. Having Jay's voice as my system voice was cool. Having remixed versions of Remember was cool. And Cosmos by Frequency was cool. Having enemies designed directly after the previous enemies in the past games was cool. Black Glint in WG9 was cool. That is cool. Edgy Joshua O'Brien is cool. That kind of stuff is fun and cool. Throwbacks like that are cool. A lot of us have already, who are in the know, who dissected the game's code, found so much from Armored Core 4 and found even Chief from Armored Core fucking 5 in there. There's scrapped extension parts and scrapped wall kicking. There was even a whole entire separate scrapped AC in there that looks like it's designed referencing, looks like the core part is straight from Master of Arena and the head part looks like it came straight from Another Age. That's what we want. We want references and stuff like that. Look at Armored Core 3. Like the Armored Core Nexus. You guys' anniversary game around that time. You guys made Armored Core Nexus and Last Raven and the PSP portables. You guys included so much throwback to the previous games in the series with an entire bonus disc in Nexus containing voice acting, little story missions, music sound mat like remixes, an entire remixed missions that were remade and expanded upon with bonus missions taking place in the first generation era with remixed tracks. And you could select which version, if you wanted the original version or the remixed version of that song to play. And to top it off, you guys included parts and weapons from those games from Project Phantasma and Master of Arena. You guys even hid the parts in the levels in the same spots, to where if people knew where to look for the parts in the old games, you could look for the parts in the new missions and find them there. That was awesome. The return of Stinger, and the fact that for the first time you could actually build Stinger's armored core. You actually gave those parts to the player. And Phantasma, the return of Phantasma was really cool. The mission where you have to show up and fight Stinger was awesome. And the one where 2 Phantasmas show up and you can still wreck them was awesome. And the final mission of Armored Core shows up where the massive MT shows up. And Launch Law from Armored Core 2 plays in the background. That was cool. And you guys did a whole entire remixed version where Sledgehammer shows up, talking about how nobody knows about how Nineball's controlling the whole entire charade from the background. That is great. The fact that the final mission of Armored Core Nexus is an entire callback to those previous game series, with people accidentally reactivating Nineball, and a remixed version of Nineball's Zeroth shows up and transforms. That's what people want. That's what we players want. We want that. We like that. We like callbacks to that. We like it when you add parts and weapons from the previous games. We like that you guys go back and self-reflected and brought back features and different weapons and stuff from the previous games. And different missions and things like that. That's what we were all hoping for. And it looks like that's what Armored Core 6 was initially going to be. From the looks inside the development of the game, from what I know, from what I do know, it looks like that's what it was going to be. So what happened? Who fucked it up? Was it Miyazaki? Did Miyazaki fuck this up, or was it fucking Bandai? Or somehow did they both coerce the rest of the AC6 development team into making this abomination? You guys were way too conservative and way too careful about how you guys went about this. Ace Combat 7, at least their devs had the balls to stick to what they knew and what they knew their player base would have loved. They've sold more than ever before as well. And that's because it's on PC. This game would have performed and sold the same damn amount because it's on PC. One thing I wish you guys wouldn't look at Ace Combat and replicate is the fact that you can't get Armored Core games anywhere outside of buying them for the original console. And now, since Armored Core and FromSoft, now that y'all are so big, people are scalping the hell out of them because they know they can get away with it. Because laws about that have not caught up yet, but that's another can of worms. We want this. Please stop pulling a Nintendo about not reselling any of your shit and just put them on Steam for resale like you did with the PSP. All you guys have to do in order for people to buy them and make more money is just re-release them on another platform. It made you guys money with the PSP games. I know it did. All you guys would have to do to earn a lot of goodwill and a lot of extra money is to simply re-release them onto PSP. If you guys aren't going to make Armored Core games how Armored Core games actually should be, then we deserve re-releases. If you guys are going to pull a Final Fantasy and just remake how the game plays completely from the ground fucking up and fuck it up for your old player base, then you guys need to allow access to the old games. I see absolutely no good fucking reason why you guys couldn't do that. Especially with the very first 3 games and the last 3 games that you guys made. Hell, Verdict Day. Verdict Day and 5, y'all released with Bandai's help. There is no good reason why those are landlocked onto those platforms. You guys had no good reason to kill the servers for 5 as quickly as you guys did. And y'all realized y'all made a horrifyingly crappy mistake and overcorrected with Verdict Day. There was still no reason for you guys to shut those servers down because Verdict Day had just started growing back up in popularity since people had heard about Armored Core 6. The problem is that the only way to have played Verdict Day is to have gotten a freaking PS3 or an Xbox 360. Now, decade-old freaking system. You guys have no excuse not to re-release at least those games onto the freaking PC, onto Steam, so that people could buy them and play them. You wouldn't have to do anything. It makes no sense. The most despicable thing about that is how you guys handled it. You completely killed PS3. PS3's online is completely screwed. You can't even do free battle. That's what I've been hearing everywhere. Free battle for the PS3 is just completely gone. The only people that can play free battle on their consoles now is 360. You guys didn't have to kill it that far. There was no good reason to have done it like that, other than you just have absolutely so much discontent and regard for those games. I don't know who's making these choices, but it feels like you guys don't want anything to do with the old generations of the games, franchises, or us old players who helped make you. We made you fucking guys. What you are today, we were there. We were the very first big hit. We helped fucking build you guys to what you are now. And the fact that you can't even remember where you're from or what the people who helped make you want is sad. It angers me. And the fact that your players, me, other people I know feel like they can't speak up about it because they'll be freaking ignored is sad. And it makes me disappointed in you completely. And everyone else, while they're going to cheer you on and hope, I hope that the next game is just like this one, but even more Souls-like elements. That's not what we fucking want. That's not what we came here for. That's not what we want. That is not what we came to Armored Core for. That is not why we're here. I just hope that you guys can talk and look at Ace Combat 7 over there and just talk to the team at Project Aces. Look at them. Look at them. Look at what they've done. They included an entire extra DLC set of missions that were callbacks to the previous games. With enemies like the Rimfaxi or Simfaxi. It's like from one of the PS2 games. I think it's like Ace Combat 5 or 6. I can't remember. But yeah. The Arc Bird. You know, like the whole entire reference with that, and like their whole entire catalog of aircraft. Their whole entire catalog of aircraft that they have from all their previous games that they included as freaking DLC. If you guys desperately wanted to include Gundam-like elements, instead of going the path of making your game Souls-like, Gundam Breaker-like play, maybe what you guys could have done is collaborate with, I don't know, Bandai, the people who's known for making freaking everything Gundam, and like release some Gundam-inspired-esque parts and weapons, and maybe a Gundam-inspired-esque mission. Not the entire fucking game be that way. You guys kind of went overboard with that. And here's the bit that really gets me. I can feel that there's two different design directions that you guys keep trying to go with Armored Core 6. All throughout the game, there's apparently the team of people who made it had two entirely separate ideas of what this game was supposed to be. One half of the development team seems to have understood that this was an Armored Core game and tried to make it so. The other half of the people seems to have thought that this was supposed to be Sekiro Souls and tried to go that way with it. Because whenever I try to fire my weapon, all of the sudden the camera locks in place like it fucking should be, and it actually acts like how the Armored Core camera should act. My AC is facing the direction that I am trying to fucking shoot, and I am not trying to constantly wrestle with it to make it face the direction that I want to face. Could you guys have not just left that as a little free camera thing as just for taking screenshots? I like the fact that you added an entire dedicated screenshot thing in so that you don't have to die and be ejected from your Armored Core like in AC5 and Verdict Day in order to take screenshots. I think that's cool. However, the omnidirectional unlocked camera thing should at the minimum be a toggleable thing. Nobody really likes that. That's clearly just there to try and cater to you guys' other player base and how those games play. That's clearly all that it is. I fucking absolutely hate the fact that I'm constantly wrestling with the camera. Ace Combat has known this its whole entire developmental life. And you guys did too. Why did you guys suddenly just forget how mech combat camera system works? And the HUD. The other thing I hate is the HUD. Why did you guys pull the HUD straight from Armored Core 5? It's not... That's the worst one. I fucking hate the small HUD and the fact that it's a damn circle. It is so aggravating. I know that some people love that because it's they don't have to look slightly off to the side of the screen or whatever the fuck. But it's not. It's so bad. It's so hard to see sometimes. And it's downright distracting at times as well. Can you not just go back to the standardized HUD that you guys had for, I don't know, fucking, like 15 other games? That would have been nice. And another thing, why did you guys remove wall kicking? And where the hell are extensions? Why did you guys remove wall kicking and extensions? Why? Every single arm part obviously has an extension slot. And I know that's something that was supposed to happen. Where the fuck are they? Whenever Miyazaki or Bandai or whoever the fuck came rolling through the development team and fucked it all up, what was that just part of the simplification process? Did you think that, extensions would be adding too much complexity for our players? Can't have that. We need to simplify it even more. Come on. Extensions have been around since Armored Core 2. Really? And wall kicking has been around since Armored Core 5. It would help trying to get up these damn areas, because now you guys make these huge open areas, and since our ACs are so severely lacking in aerial mobility, because you guys have kneecapped the generator capacity with a hidden generator stat now, where they regenerate slower in air for some reason, despite trying to tune your AC so far in one direction for energy conservative, it just doesn't matter. So now that you have these huge maps, it would have been really nice if you guys would have just left wall kicking in. It would have helped with maneuvering and with doing stuff and getting around the maps. But apparently that was too complex. We can't have that. Adds too much complexity for our players. I don't think it was necessary for you guys to cut that. That should have stayed in the game. Why? That was so unnecessary. And on top of that, again, what the hell is up with the lacking in stats and all these hidden stats that are not explained or brought up or anything? What the hell is up with that? Why did you guys do that? Was it to try and force people into a very specific, locked-in player style? Is that all that it was about? Because you guys kneecapped people's ability well enough to be able to make and express their ACs by making things so much meta. And the fucking animation and animation canceling. Why? I don't want to sit there and go through multi-second long animations for each weapon that can be disrupted by an enemy hitting me. I don't want that. My AC should just respond to my inputs. Like in Armored Core, I don't know, all the other ones. Or like in Ace Combat, my machine does what I ask it to do when I ask it to do it. The punishing part is that you don't have to add the stagger system and the animation canceling. You don't have to do that, because the punishing bit is the fact that your machine does exactly what you ask it to do. That's hard. That automatically makes it hard. I like that. Us players like that. We like it. Yes, it makes it harder. Yes. But it makes it more fun. It makes it to where I am actually controlling my machine. You guys have automated the gameplay to a certain extent now, and that has ruined it for me. I found that even doing basic missions, it was unpleasant. And I only ever used machine guns and rifles because I fucking hate the fucking animations for the laser blades and the fucking energy weapons and the back-mounted grenade rifles and all of that shit. I found that it takes a solid 2 seconds to actually fire those things off. And you're stuck in place. Why? Why are you stuck in place? And why, whenever I go to fire them, if an enemy hits me with enough force, does it just cancel out that I'm firing? The striker pin hit the fucking grenade, but oops, it turns out I got staggered, so it's just not gonna fire. Okay. You know how many times I've died and how frustrating that is for a veteran player like me to have to put up with constantly? I go into online matches and get obliterated because of that. That's so aggravating and unnecessary. Look at Armored Core fucking 4 and 4 Answer. If you wanted a game where there was some kind of meta, just make it to where it's mobility. Don't fucking make it like that. Make it to where, where you can either have a tank build where instead of its entire crux being the fact that they're unstaggerable, just be raw AP. That's what I really loved about the old games, is that tank builds were punishing because of their lack of mobility. But they were so strong, they could carry big, heavy-hitting weapons. The fact that you could use your back weapons without Human Plus or OP Intensify. You could use your back weapons without having to have those. And you could have so much extra armor. It had a whole entire player style of its own. It was punishing because it was slow, but people developed entire player styles around it. I did. Some of my greatest AC builds are tanks because of how powerful and how durable you can make them. But their crux is that if a high mobility enemy faces you, you have to be really good with your tank in order to overcome them, but you could. You could build a tank that could overcome it. In Armored Core fucking 6, most of your builds are completely skewed to the point where, like, you have to have a certain set of weapons and have to have a certain set of parts and have to build your ACs a certain way for things to actually work. And yes, in the old games, yes, you had to also completely build your ACs for certain missions as well. That's the crux of the game. But in AC6, it's been completely knocked down to such a small amount of the already tiny part and weapon selection that is both unsatisfying to use or impossible to use because of you guys' animation and stagger system. And the whole entire health regeneration system is so fucking unnecessary. That is so unnecessary. It's like the camera system and like the stagger system. The health system is so clearly just to fucking make it like other games. And just to make it more similar to those games. Why? Fucking why? Just balance the parts durability and weapons output like you did with, again, the other 15 fucking games. If you guys really, really wanted to make health regen a thing, just have resupply trucks or limit it as a special ability to where you have to use like an optional part slot. You guys remember optional part slots? They're like the core expansions that you put in this game. Very similar. Just make it a one-time use thing and make it a fucking core expansion. I like it. It's just so... It's too generalized, and it's been made an essential part of the gameplay. And it's been tied in with the stagger system so much, and the animation canceling and all of that, you've tied it in with that. You guys tied it in with that. So now, if your animation gets disrupted by getting staggered or for whatever fucking reason, if you press regen health, it doesn't regen your health. You have to be doing nothing and then press the button. It's so disruptive to the gameplay that so many of us want. That's what we don't fucking like. It's cool. It's a cool callback feature because Black Glint from Jay from Verdict Day, the last boss from Verdict Day, could regen his health. White Glint, he could regenerate his health. It's a cool callback feature. It's directly calling back to those things. I like that. The problem is it's been made an essential part of the gameplay flow, and it's disruptive to it, like the stagger system, like the animation system. It disrupts how the game plays. It ruins the experience for a lot of us. People don't like it. I know there's going to be outliers. I understand that. There's going to be people who love it, who think that this is perfect. But a lot of us older players disagree, and even more vaster amount of them aren't saying anything about it because they're afraid that they're going to get fucking alienated and ridiculed for it. And that's not okay. If anything you take away from this, if I reach anybody, if this reaches anybody, what you need to do is look back. Stop looking at the parallels of Dark Souls and the Sekiro games and Gundam Breaker. Stop looking at that. That's not what we want. That's not what Armored Core should be. That's not it. Look at Ace Combat. If you want a foreign example to try and understand what to make your next game and base how it should feel off of, look at Ace Combat. The story is meh, but the game and the references and all the amazing extra add-on stuff that they put into that game from all the previous Ace Combat games, the way that it plays, the return of the rearm and refuel line from the previous games, namely Ace Combat 4, my favorite. The soundtrack, which includes stuff like the remixed versions of Stonehenge Offensive, Stonehenge Defensive, stuff like that. Returning things like that, revisiting areas, things, and people from those times with remix soundtracks and maybe a returning character or something. Maybe a whole entire remixed fucking section of parts and weapons like you did with Nexus, Ninebreaker, Last Raven, the PSP versions. Maybe an entire new selection of parts and weapons based on the Gen 1 Armored Cores. That would be fucking awesome. That's what people want. It's what I want. It's what a lot of us want. Areas that look like, I don't know, maybe the Justice Cannon from Armored Core. Maybe the Lost Field where you fight Project Phantasma from Another Age and Nine Ball Xeroth and return enemies like that. There is so much that you guys could do, and you went the complete opposite path. And what the hell? Why? What is wrong with you guys and co-op? I know that you guys' netcode is never up to par. Who cares? Make co-op a thing. It was so badly lacking that you guys, an entire modder, an entire extra modder came in and had to modify y'all's game to bring a feature that it should have had. What the hell was wrong with the mercenary and co-op system of Armored Core fucking 4 or 5 or Verdict Day? That was an awesome system. It was such a simple thing too. Why did you guys not implement that? It would have been great, especially for new players, to invite another player to come on them on missions that they're having difficulty with in order to help them get through it. I don't understand. Again, I don't know who up there made these terrible design choices and the exact lack of give a fuck about AC's original community, so much so to the point where you guys have just completely drifted away of what AC really should be. I had so much faith I had so much faith in you guys. There was so much expectation from this community. We waited for so long, and we put so much faith in you guys that you guys wouldn't do this. I did. I pre-ordered this game. Out of all the companies in today's world, I put so much faith in that you guys would actually deliver the experience that I came for, that I was looking for and that I stayed for. I tried playing a lot of different Gundam games growing up, and I never liked how they felt. They never played right. None of them did. Because they felt like how Armored Core 6 plays now. And that's not what I want. That's not what a lot of us want. I just wanted what I loved about the series to have its time to shine in the light. Instead, you guys buried it. And I like all of the games, except 6. Now, I might not like AC4 for various reasons, or AC5 as much for various reasons. Like AC4 having, again, a slight lacking in part variety, but 4-Answer fixed that. But 4-Answer was way too goddamn fast in some sections. It felt like I was, it felt like I was playing a jet plane on freaking crack. Okay? And while that is cool, and it's really fun at times, it's not good for versus play. 5 and Verdict Day slowed everything way too down. You guys overcorrected massively in 5 and somewhat fixed that in Verdict Day. And made up for it by trying to do so much callback to the other games and so much reflection and change and speeding up of different things. You guys, made Verdict Day really good, especially with its online function and the mercenary system and the bosses. That is how you do bosses in Armored Core. If you're gonna have bosses in Armored Core, do it like how Verdict Day did it. Maybe not do the special sortie point system. That was very tedious and annoying. Maybe just make it to where people can, just select which boss they want to fight and then let them fight them with their team. That would be more preferable. Please. And if you ever kill the servers again, if you ever do that again, and you kill the servers like that again, you guys owe it to the players who bought those games and who played those games to do one last fucking update to at least make it to where anything that doesn't require server-based networking still works. Like the bosses. Like co-op. You guys knew how to do it for AC4. Like 4-Answer. I guess 4, since you guys bricked PS3's, versus feature for no good reason. You guys went about it the absolute worst possible direction. And I just don't understand why. All you guys had to do was release one last update. Just making it to where anything server related just didn't work anymore. And if it was on the disk and didn't require server related activities, it was just peer-to-peer, just update it one last time and make it to where, there it is. It's just going to work like this. I even made an entire dedicated video where half of it was just me talking about this. So, if you guys do that again, you guys need to make it to where these functions that do not require networked functionality can still work. Because there is no good fucking reason for that not to be the case. And if you guys aren't going to actually ever listen to any of us old players, if you're going to fucking ignore us and just brush us off and continue to go down this Sekiro Dark Souls-ified path, you know, to where the game is going to just ultimately evolve into fucking Gundam Breaker, at least, at the bare minimum, re-release the old versions of Armored Core onto PC so that people can access them. I understand that there is a lot of legalese behind it all, and that will cost money. I get it. But you guys stand to gain so much more money than what you guys would ultimately spend on that by just the virtue of the fact that it's so accessible if it was on Steam and that you guys have become such a big name. You would automatically make your money back if that's what you need to tell your shareholders or whatever, or Miyazaki or Bandai. If that's what it takes, just say that they will make their money back. And if it doesn't work, then just never do it again. Just for fuck's sake, if you guys could just re-release at the minimum the PSP versions of the game onto the freaking Steam. If that's all you guys ever managed to do, that would be fantastic. Maybe what you guys could do is do a hybrid release where you re-release the PS2 versions of the game, but it has all the extra parts and weapons from the PSP games. That would be great. That'd be fan-fucking-tastic. That'd be fantastic. Include just update the net play on them to where people can still do the verses with the net play, because people have already kind of figured out how to do that. By the way, people can still make that work and still do it. They make videos about that. Still, it's what your fans want. If you're never going to release another true to form Armored Core game again, then you need to do that. Because if you don't, all of us old players are going to leave. We're going to check out. I'm not buying the next copy of this game until I see exactly how it plays. You guys have soiled that for me. You guys ruined that for me now. And I'm not going to be spending money on this next game until I'm certain it's going to be what I'm looking for. Until then, I'm just not going to buy y'all's games. I don't play Dark Souls or Sekiro. I don't play Gundam Breaker. I don't want any of that. That's not the experience I fucking want. I'm just going to sit here and play my old games, I guess. And if you guys feel like you want to generate some good fucking will, maybe, just maybe, re-release the games that you guys already still have the rights to and already have the same publishers with. Namely the 5th generation games. Since those are the only ones that are like that. It would cost you guys nothing. It really wouldn't cost you anything. just release them onto PC, or at the minimum, Xbox and PlayStation's new stores, so that people can access them. Because they're still on the old ones. All you guys would have to do is put them on the new ones with the same publisher. So I don't really understand what's stopping you guys from doing that. It seems like it would be a I don't know, a simple process, because you wouldn't have to go through any legalese nonsense. But the hell do I know? You guys only stand to make money from it. Just saying. Clearly, and I mean like clearly someone at From Software still wants to make Armored Core based on the kits that are being released, seeing how they're old style AC units. I wonder who those are targeted at, because they ain't targeted at y'all's new players. Most of those kits are of the older type AC units, targeted at us. But at the same time, y'all's game isn't. So make up your damn mind from, do you guys want to just leave us old players and the player base that made your fucking company in the dust and stick with your new ones? Or do you guys want to suck up and one of you guys up there take directive control, who actually gives a shit about Armored Core, and bring back somebody like Nateshi Zen instead of... Why don't you guys bring back Frequency and Nateshi Zen and allow Frequency to make the soundtrack for this next AC game? Make remixes of some of the better soundtracks in there, and make references to the old games. Change those stupid fucking stagger camera and health system. Include more parts and weapons and features. Bring back wall kicking. Bring back turning speed. Fix the camera in place like it should be. Take away the stagger system, or make it toggleable with, guess what? You guys can use regulations, just like in 4 and 4 Answer, where people can select what regulation they want to play on. Guess what? Make it to where people can select what regulation they want to play on, so that they can play their game experience like that. Make it selectable. That's all you guys have to do. You've already done this before. Just do that. And if people don't want to play against those people who have stagger turned on, they don't have to, because they'll only get matched and play with people who already have the same exact regulation settings. It's not that hard. You guys already did it. Just do that. That was a good function. Bring that function back. Maybe include extensions. Maybe bring back extensions. Bring back tuning for your different parts and weapons. Armored Core 5 had tuning for your weapons. Bring back tuning for your parts, like the 3rd generation games did have. The late 3rd generation games really figured out how to get you to build an AC unit exactly how you wanted it. That's what I am missing. That's what we want. And if you will not do that, if there's no one there with the cojones to stand up for what Armored Core should be, kick out Miyazaki and bring back Nateshi Zen, or one of the other Armored Core directors, somebody up there who's directed an Armored Core game that is still employed by your company, people who have already worked on this and are still working there. All you have to do is assign them on this project. Just do that, and the game will turn out how it's supposed to be. It is that easy. And as for Bandai, allow them to have creative control. Let them make the fucking game how they want to make it. Do not go in, reach in there, and fuck it up. If y'all have anything to do about it, and I ever find out, I'm never going to spend another damn dime on another AC game. And I know that my purchase is nothing. My revenue is a drop in the fucking bucket. It doesn't matter. But, you know, a lot of us, if we found that out, if multiples or, you know, if a lot of us did, we'd be upset. More than we already are. Because a lot of us are very certain that this game was supposed to be different. A lot of us seem to have this idea that Armored Core 6 was supposed to be a continuation of 4th and 5th generation. And a lot of the in-game files and, you know, previous talks of the game throughout the years and stuff like that seem to have suggested so. Especially with y'all's released soundtrack lately, with Chief and us finding his AC and a lot of the 5th and remixed 4th generation AC stuff seem to believe so. So if that's the case, and you guys just had your balls tugged off, you know, by Miyazaki and Bandai, and they just ruined the game, and we ever find out that that's really the truth, instead of it just being seemingly the truth, I will never buy another game from you guys again, and I think a lot of us will never buy another game from you guys again. Because a lot of us were promised that back in the day, and a lot of us expected that out of you, and this is not what we got. And most of us won't speak up because we're too afraid of getting snuffed out by you guys' other more louder fan base. And we think that a lot of our opinions just don't matter, and so most of us just aren't saying anything. Well, I'm tired of that. So I'm making this video for all those people who I know want to speak up but feel like they can't. So get your guys together, get your act together, get the people who know what they're doing and how to make Armored Core and how to make Armored Core music that still work there onto the Armored Core 6 or 7 team, 6+ team, whatever you want to call it, and let them make it. And that's all you have to do. That's it. You guys were way too conservative, way too afraid of failing, and you had no faith in us. No faith in Armored Core or its player base that's been so loyal to you and helped build you to what you are now. And that was a mistake on you guys' part. And now what you've done is you've split the player base of Armored Core even further, fractured it even further than it already was, which is somehow an accomplishment. So I hope you guys are happy with your sales numbers. I'm sure you've made your investors happy at least. And I guess if that's all that's important, then why don't you just go the whole entire EA route? What's stopping you? Where's the loot boxes and the battle pass? Yeah. If you guys are going to go that route, then what's stopping you from just going full fucking send? Just make it play like Gundam Breaker and Dark Souls combined, and everybody else will be happy and you guys will make plenty of money. All of us old school players will never come back, and you'll never hear another damn word out of us again, if that's going to be the case. But I'd like you guys to announce that. Don't lie. Don't say that you guys are going to definitely make another Armored Core game and that this is definitely an Armored Core game. Okay? Don't come out saying that if it's not the case. Because That's fucked up. That's wrong. Don't do that. And it's clearly a red flag whenever you guys did do that. So, do it right. Take some constructive input from some of us who've played all of your games, and take some input from your community, and maybe, you'll build back some goodwill. And at the minimum, if you guys can't do that, just re-release the old titles onto Steam and call it a fucking day. This has been Ethan Spaziani. And this is the community's thoughts, from at least from my small section of it. From my small section of the community and the people I know and I've talked to about it, who either don't speak very good English or feel that their input does not matter. This is their input, combined with my input that I'm also adding. This is our input. If From wants to listen to anything, here is some constructive criticism here. Try it.